Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So in this review video, we've got a new iron from Ping, i540. It's in that player's distance category, so it's always going to be a very popular one. First impressions, very sleek, and there's some new additions inside the head, which I feel is going to be a real good improvement for the Ping iron in this category. Let's jump into the video. Okay, so new iron from Ping, the i540, very popular category. This, the player's distance. We're trying to sort of hit maybe a little bit of a nice sort of shape, a little bit more compact, neat to sort of look to the golf club, but then packed with obviously a good amount of forgiveness, and also then looking on a little bit of distance. So trying to blend a little bit of probably everything that maybe all golfers want to maybe sort of look at: distance, feel, playability, but really nice looks in that playing position. So first instinct on the back of this iron, it's a very clean look. It's a very sort of sleek look in a way. We've got this sort of badge in the back, which just really levels off the back to give that plain sort of look. Very minimal, really. Just got the Ping logo, forged face, which is what it is. It's not a fully forged head, it's just a forged face. So we've got the tungsten screw on the sole towards the toe area, which I've seen in many sort of irons. And then moving into the club face, again, it's a very sort of clean look. A nice sort of satin finish to it with a little bit of a sort of shimmer to it in a way. Very nice sort of look and finish to it. Into that playing position, and again, it's a nice shape. It's a good compact head. But when I say compact, it's more that top edge is sort of medium, I would sort of say. The blade length isn't super short. It's quite a longish blade length, little bit of offset there, and a bit more of a satin where the grooves sit in relationship to that toe and heel section. Now, when we come back to previous models in this i series, so we saw i540 as initial one, it was a very powerful iron. It was very low spin, I found, and it was very loud. And, you know, trying to get that blend, maybe for that golfer who wants to come out of that cavity back iron, maybe it's, for instance, in Ping G440, very clicky, a little bit on that louder sound, and then transition into maybe this player's distance, as they call it, eventually then into the, obviously a forged product like the Blueprint. The sounds are going to change, aren't they? And I think that's going to be the big thing in this particular iron, and Ping have addressed that, is what they're saying, with some tech inside, which we're obviously going to run through. As I mentioned, does look good down by that golf ball, liking the shape of that. Okay, and that was a bit off the toe, so not a great strike to kick things off with. Okay, so first, just a quick look at the first numbers there. We can sort of see spin at 4.6, a little bit on that low side. So this is a 7 iron, and it is 29 degrees of loft. So it is in that stronger bracket. I'd probably like to see that more 30, maybe even 31 in this sort of type of iron, if I'm being brutally honest. So I don't think there's going to be any issues of getting some distance with this shot. I mean, that was a 179 carry on a toe strike. Okay, so I think just first instincts on those first few shots, and I've obviously hit some warm-up shots with this, and there's my general feedback really on the sound of that, and this is where Ping have done a bit of work to what they're saying. It's still a little bit on that clicky side for me. I mean, it's a forged face, so don't be fooled by that. I know it says sort of forged face on the back of the golf club, but it's not going to give you that pure forged sort of sound that we maybe associate with that word forged as a full body forged. This is obviously a hollow construction head. Yes, the face is forged. The rest of it is going to be that stainless sort of steel. So there is that little bit of sound vibration through that we tend to sort of see in these hollow construction heads. Now, Ping have introduced an in-air technology. So basically, it's like a little airbag that sits inside the head right behind the hitting area. This is designed to try and break up frequency sounds through the inside of the head, which obviously would sort of travel throughout, and that's what we hear as a golfer, isn't it? So they're trying to sort of control that sound, and I don't think it's a bad sound by any means. You're just going to see it a little bit clicky in relationship to a fully forged iron, but for me, definitely a better sound than we've seen in previous models. Going back again to that i500, as I mentioned before, it was a very loud sort of iron. So I think getting the sound right helps us to associate a little bit with the feel of the golf club as well. And that's the best strike of the lot there. That's a really good ball flight. Again, that's a good feel off the club face. We've got this sort of steel miraging face, which has a sort of, again, it's forged, but has a variable face thickness, and it has a bend-like profile that we see in the metal wood faces. So really obviously helping to try and keep that ball speed up, not only the centre of the golf club, but obviously across the entire face, keeping a little bit of that forgiveness, but as I mentioned, that more of that player's sort of compact look. I think just as we start hitting some shots there, we can see that spin number is in that low area, isn't it? You know, that was 4,300 spin. That was a good strike. Launch was 17. The rest of the numbers are really good, actually. You know, height-wise, 102 feet. Land angle just short of 47 degrees. So it's coming in with a nice bit of stopping power and a really good smash there at 138. So also what's happening inside the head in the 4-iron through to 7-iron is a tungsten weight is positioned in the center, but very sort of low and deep inside the head. Now with some weight being saved in the actual head itself, that's allowed for this tungsten to be placed in there. Lowers that CG placement, so in those longer irons, helps to get a little bit of launch, a little bit of height to the ball flight, and obviously gives it a little bit more of that stopping power when hitting into the greens. Good flight, really nice high flight. Definitely going to come down with some stopping power there. Just that spin, a good ball speed there. See, that's getting up to 127.5. So 193 carry, but that spin is lower spin is going to make that ball go a little bit further. That's probably the only thing probably for this iron is just the spin's a little bit low for my liking. We're going to get some sort of flying shots in there, I think, as well. So maybe that front to back dispersion could be a little bit of an issue. But of course, you can always change the loft. Now, Ping, as we know in the previous models, and it's the same in this i540, you've got an option of that retro spec, or even going even stronger again in that strong loft. So, for instance, in the 7-iron there, standard is 29 degrees of loft. The power spec, which is a stronger loft, less loft, can go down to 27.5 degrees of loft. And then we've got the retro loft, which is obviously weaker, and that goes up to 31 degrees, so 2 degrees weaker. So again, if you're maybe haven't got as much speed, need to try and get some launch, maybe need to try and get a bit more spin on the golf ball, then that higher loft might be a good option. So there is some variables there to have a little play around with. Obviously, if you chat about that with your fitter, yeah, and another nice ball flight. Touch lower on that one, but their spin at 4.4. So availability wise in the i540, we've got 4-iron running through to pitching wedge and also a U wedge, which is that gap wedge, and both available in right and left hand. Let's quickly look at some numbers. So looking clubhead speed averaging at 90.5, ball speed 124.4. So for me, some really nice sort of ball speed, obviously subject to your ball striker this clearly, but launch at 17.6 as an average and spin averaging at 4.4. Now spin was pretty consistent, to be honest, but it is in that low area, and that's probably the only thing that just concerns me a little bit. You might be a little bit different as a golfer. You might be a little bit more of a high spin player potentially, but for me there, it's a little bit on that low side. So that sometimes then creates a little bit issues on your front to back dispersion. Now, obviously that first shot you can see there, or first couple weren't the best of strikes. I know the first one was definitely a toey, 121 ball speed. That obviously drops my carry distance down a little bit at 179. It's not a bad number there, but then when I do get a really good strike, there's a touch more clubhead speed to be fair, but 127.5 ball speed, again 4.2 spin, you can see that carries at 193. So there's a good 13, 14 yards difference from that slight miss hit to then a really nice sort of ball strike. But having said that, height's good, land angle's pretty decent, really happy with that, and it feels quite nice off that club face. Okay, so i540, if you feel like you want something that's maybe a little bit more spin, maybe a little bit more control, slightly better feel, I would definitely look at maybe then the i240, which is also a new iron from Ping. I have done a full review on that, so that is also on my channel. I'll link it up there and you can go and check that out. Appreciate you watching the video as always, and hopefully I'll catch you all very soon.